Hi and welcome to this next Matwork Pilates session. In today's session I've been inspired by a teacher by the name of Kathy Corey. She's an American master teacher, and this class inspired me because she is talking about how the body often has one more mobile side perhaps than the other, or one more stable joint than the other, one maybe more flexible joint. So you might notice differences in your shoulders or differences in your hips or your knees, or indeed in your different parts of your spine. And in Pilates our goal is always to bring symmetry to the body so that we have, for example, equal lengths on either side, or balance between the joints. Of course we're all different, we all come from different starting places, so it's just a case of finding the best symmetry that you can for your body. And we're going to start off sitting in a long frog position, either on your mats or if you are more comfortable sitting on a yoga block, please feel free to use that. I'm sitting on my reformer slash tower today because I want to use this setting to move my legs a bit more clearly for you to see for an exercise later on. So as I say, find a starting position that you're comfortable with. I'm going to sit facing you initially. I might just change my angle every now and then just to show you some of the parts of the movements. So the hands are resting on the legs, or maybe they could rest in the laps. They could even rest by your sides if you want. You don't have to have the straightest back at the moment for this particular exercise, but do play around with the distance of your feet in relation to your spine. Often the further forward away they are, the more relaxed we can be in the front of the hips, which is really where we want to be to start. So we're going to close the eyes and just take a few breaths, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. And in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just one more deep breath in and out. Now I want you to bring your attention to your pelvis, and noticing first of all maybe where your thigh bones come into the hip sockets and how that feels on each side. Also noticing the sit bones that you're sitting on top of. Hopefully you are indeed sitting on top of them and not towards the back of them and leaning backwards. We want to feel them grounded into the mat. And then also notice the spine where it connects onto the pelvis, at the back of the body. The sacroiliac joint where the sacrum, the bottom of your spine, meets the back of the pelvis, the iliac crests. And just feeling how each of those points feel within the body. And then I want you to notice if there is perhaps one side that feels a little bit less comfortable than the other side, or maybe it's a case that one hip feels that it's slightly more forwards than the other hip, or perhaps one sit bone is slightly more grounded than the other one, or maybe slightly shifted in a direction in relation to the other one. So pick a side, pick the side if you can. If you can't feel any difference whatsoever, that's great, because hopefully that means you have a symmetrical pelvis. But I still want you to pick a side, so just pick a random side. Those of you who have definitely a noticeable difference, I want you to start with the less comfortable side first. So for me today, my right side is not feeling particularly happy for whatever reason, so I'm going to work on that side first. So what I want you to do is to drop over, so shift your weight into the right sit bone, the right side of your bum. Have your right knee fairly low to the floor and keep your left knee nice and high to the ceiling. Your left foot will now be flat onto the mat, whereas the right foot will be turned out. Obviously, if your left side is tighter, you're going over to the left. Then I want you to place your hand, one hand on the floor around the body. The other hand, so for example, if it's the left knee that's high, it's my left arm that's coming in front of the body. And I pop the hand onto the front of the shin. The elbow just gently pressing into my knee, encouraging it to stay upright. And then what I want to do is to make some very small little movements, micro movements, where, for example, the tailbone drops towards the floor and then releases. And it drops down towards the floor and releases. We'll do a few more of these. We're aiming for about 6 of these little tailbone drops. Feeling that rolling, very gentle rolling of the thigh bone inside your hip. When you've done that last one, bring yourself back to your centered long frog position. So the soles of the feet are reconnected, the knees are both more or less at the same level. Then let's go over to the other side. So now I'm going to my left side. My right foot will be flattened to the floor, my right knee is high. And my right arm comes across the body, the hand onto the shin. Now, this is supposedly my good side, so I'm only going to do half as many repetitions. So I'm going to drop the tailbone down and then release, and drop it down and release. Kathy talks about moving from the bones of the body rather than the muscles. So think about that as you move. When you've done your 3 reps, let's come back over to the first side, the less comfortable side, via our transitioning point. So now what I want you to do is to think about that left arm, or some of you it'll be your right arm, reaching up to the ceiling. The other hand can rest on the lower of the knees or just rest on the floor. And now what I want you to do is to keep reaching your arm up as the tailbone drops down and then release back up again. So arm keeps going up, tailbone drops down. Again, we're aiming for about 6 repetitions on this side, so I'm halfway, I'll do 3 more. And I'm moving on the out breath, coming back on the in breath. Then I come back to my centered position and again rock over to the other side. So again, we're doing only half as many reps, so find your starting position, arm reaches to the ceiling, other hand where it's comfortable, and same thing again. I'm just going to turn to the side just in case you haven't really got a sense of the angle of the tailbone movement. So on this side, remember just 3 reps. You're breathing out as you drop down, breathing in as you come back up. And then come back to the center, back to your long frog position. Now we've just got one more challenge to do, and that's to drop over to that more uncomfortable side again. And this time I want you to bring both arms, well, the front arm in front of the body onto the floor, the other arm behind the knee. And so now the upper body is rotated slightly, we're working more into that other hip and opening this lower hip. And then the same thing with the tailbone, drop away and release back up. Breathe out, drop under, breathe in to release. We'll do 4 more, so 6 again in total. And we're, as I say, making very small little movements around the pelvic joint. Then when you've done your last one, your 6th one, stay on this side, stay on this more challenging, uncomfortable side, and reach that arm back to the ceiling. Keep reaching up as the tailbone drops down. We're going to do 6 of these, so 5 more. That other knee stays fairly low, the left knee staying high. So just trying to ease into that tight side, trying to move it in relation to the thigh bones and the spine. When you've done your 6th one, bring that arm across again, but this time pop it onto the calf muscle like we did to start. And we finish 6 more like so. When you've finished, come back to your long frog position, like we did at the very start. So make sure you're sitting on those sit bones rather than the back of them, so they're dropping down into the mat. Legs sitting wherever they feel comfortable, so remember the feet can come slightly forward if that helps. Knees relaxing out, relaxing the front of the hips, lengthening the spine, closing your eyes, and just noticing how you feel at this point. Thinking about the breath, thinking about the pelvis, that relationship to the thighs and the spine. And then just noticing if there has been any change. Now some of you won't have noticed any change whatsoever, and that's fine. Some of you might have noticed a little bit of a shift, maybe just slightly less achy, maybe slightly more balanced. Some of you might have noticed a massive shift in the body. Suddenly you feel much more grounded perhaps, or maybe some people feel lighter, more space around the joints. Maybe you feel that everything's leveled out, you're feeling that symmetry coming into the body. So I hope that for at least most of you, you feel a change for the better in your bodies. So let's now work around the hip socket area with a few leg exercises. So when you're ready, let's come down and lie onto your backs into relaxation position. Remember to use head cushions if you need them to support your head. And we're going to start off with a little stretch for the hamstrings, just to release around the back of the thighs as a warm-up. So your feet are flat onto the floor, knees are bent, your arms relaxing to your sides just for a moment, and find your good starting position. So ideally your hips and pubic bone are level with one another. There's a natural curve for the lower back, so what you don't want to do is push your spine into the mat. And also there's that space behind the neck, so check the cushions are only under your heads if you're using them. Your chest is heavy, so feel the weight of the breastbone dropping into the floor. And as you take a few more breaths into this position, just feel the weight through the back of the head, the chest, and the tailbone. The legs relaxed. And then after your last breath, let's bring your right leg into a knee fold position. We're going to hold onto the back of the thigh, just a very, very light grip, and flex the right foot. Then keeping the pelvis in neutral, keeping the spine in neutral, so a very small connection of the tummy. As you breathe out, straighten the leg towards the ceiling, breathe in as you bend. Breathe out to stretch, breathe in to bend. So you'll notice my leg is going slightly forwards as it straightens, and it's also, my hands are letting go of the leg, they're loosening their grip. Because what I don't want to do is to keep the hands behind the leg and then find I can't actually straighten the leg. I want to let the leg move to its full range. Just one more on this side. And then you can give the knee a little hug if you want, or just rest it onto the floor. Take a deep breath in as you breathe out. Left leg comes up, hands around the back of the thigh. Flex the foot, breathe out to straighten, breathe in to bend. You can probably tell my left leg is definitely tighter than my right leg, so there's a good example of asymmetry in the body. Ideally, after a few more reps, my left leg should be able to straighten as much as my right. So I'm bringing symmetry back into the body. Breathing out to stretch, breathing in to release. After this one, just 2 more sets on this side. Remember to press through the heel. And then you can bring the knee back in and rest the foot back down. So we're going to come into some straight leg circles in a moment, but we're going to do lots of preparation work first because straight leg circles are quite a challenging exercise. So what I want you to do now is to straighten both of your legs completely. I'm just going to shuffle up the mat a little bit more so my legs are on the mat, and I'm resting my head onto the floor. Now if by straightening your legs your lower back doesn't feel so comfortable anymore, just have a soft bend in your knees and that should help take the pressure off the lower back. You could even have flatter feet if you wanted to. So we're going to start off by opening your arms a little wider to your sides, palms are down, and we're going to float your right leg up towards the ceiling. Keeping the pelvis level, so try not to move the hips, bring the leg across your body a little bit, and take it out away from the body. Breathe in to come across, breathe out to go away. And just one more of these. Bring the leg back to the center, rest it on the mat. You'll probably notice the thigh muscles working as you did that, as well as the tummy stabilizing the spine. Let's bring the left leg up. It's as high as you can lift it, as straight as you can make it. Remember, you could work with a softly bent knee, that's absolutely fine. The leg is going to sweep across the body, keeping the hips level, and then take it out away from the body. Breathe in to come across. Breathe out to go away, and just do one more set. Keeping the hips level. Come back to the center and rest that leg. Now I want you to think about which of those legs felt more challenging to move. So was it tighter working the right leg, or did it feel weaker perhaps? Let's pick let's pick the more mobile leg for this version. So the leg that was easier, more comfortable to move, let's go with that one. So for me, I'm going to go with the left leg. And first thing I want you to do, again, open those arms a little wider out, palms are down, and float the leg back up. Straighten as much as you can, as high as you can. Now think about the thigh bone pulling down into your hip sockets. You're drawing weight into the pelvis. And then I want you to draw 5 really tiny little circles. 3, 4, and 5. And now reverse. Make sure you keep breathing as you draw these little circles. And they are really tiny. And then let the leg rest back down again. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, bring the right leg back up. And or this might be your left one, depending on which was your more mobile one to start. And we come around again, drawing those little circles. Keep breathing as you circle. When you've done 5 in one direction, you do 5 in the other direction. And when you're finished, relax the leg back down. Give the legs a little shake. Some of you might want to give them a hug. Just releasing through the lower back. So now let's come back to that same starting position. And again, let's work with the more mobile leg. So either your left or your right, the one that felt more comfortable to bring up. Let's bring it back to the ceiling. Now keep the pelvis level. Just bring the leg across your body and back to the center. Breathe in, go across. Breathe out, come back to the center. One last one. And then rest the leg back down. Other leg comes up. Same thing, hips stay level. Use the hands as a guide if you need to. Come across and back. And across and back. You'll feel a little stretch down the outside of the leg as you do this. The IT band we're working into, the iliotibial band. Then let's come back up. This time the leg goes out away from the body. So start with the more mobile leg. Pelvis stays level. Breathe out as you open. Breathe in to come back. Out to open. Breathe in to come back. So now we're lengthening the inner thigh. And release after your third one. Come back up with the other leg. Hips stay level, open out and back. And 2, and back. And 3, and back. Bend the knee or relax, let it rest back down. Again, shake the legs or give them a little hug. Good. So now we're going to add just a little challenge by moving the pelvis with the leg. So essentially we're tipping the pelvis from side to side. And now we're going to start to feel this in the sides of the body, the muscles just above the hips. So come back to long legs or slightly bent knees. Arms open a little out to the sides, or remember you can use the hands on the pelvis to check your stability. Come back to that first leg, so the more mobile leg. Now this leg is going to come across my body and stay across the body, so keep it there. Now the left side of my bum is going to lift up as I tip my pelvis to the right. And then I come back with the pelvis, but I keep my leg across the body. We do that twice more, breathing in. And breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. Pelvis comes level, leg comes back to the center, rest the leg back down. Do the same on the other side. Leg floats up, comes across the body. Now initially the pelvis is level, then it tips over to the left and it pulls back. It tips over and it pulls back. And one last one. and then come back to rest. Now this next one is quite a challenge because the leg is weighting the body to the same direction as we're tipping the pelvis, so we have to work a little stronger in the waists and the tummy. First leg comes back up. It goes out to the side, so my left leg is going to the left. Now I tip my pelvis to the left and pull it back to the center. Breathe in and breathe out to pull back. One last one. And then leg to the center, rest to the floor. Last one. Other leg comes up, opens out, hips are currently level, then they tip to that side and pull back. Tip to the side, pull back. Last one. Bring the leg back to the center, bend the knee, rest the leg, give the legs a shake out or a pat on the thighs, or give your knees a nice little hug to the chest. Release the lower back. So we are finally ready for our leg circles. Done lots of preparation work to help us to move the pelvis, stabilize the pelvis, move the leg, stabilize the other leg. So let's bring it all together for our leg circles. And we're going to again have wide arms, palms turned down to the floor. Really think of using the abdominal muscles to help support and maintain connection and stability in parts. The leg again will be as high as it can be, as straight as it can be, and we're going to do 3 circles, 3 in each direction, only 3 in each direction, and we're going to move with the breath. So I'll talk you through this as well as do it with you. So when you're ready, come back to your starting position. So arms a little wider, palms are down. Bring your good leg, the more mobile leg, up towards the ceiling. Now we start off by taking the leg across the body and tipping the pelvis to that side. Opposite shoulder stays anchored. Take your leg down, pelvis comes level, open it out to the side, lift it back to the ceiling. Come across as you breathe in, go down and out as you breathe out. One last one in this direction. And then we reverse. Out, down, across, tipping the pelvis, come back level. Out, down, across, and back up. Last one. And then bend that knee or stretch it down along the floor. Take a big breath into the body. Release any tension. Get ready for your last one. Other leg floats up. It goes across the body, tipping the pelvis. Down, out to the side, back to the ceiling. Cross, down, out and up. One last one. Then reverse. Out to the side, down, across, and back up. Out to the side, down, across, and up. Last one. And then relax the legs, stretch it out. Take some big breaths into the tummy, maybe reach the arms away from you. Big breath in there. Return the arms to the sides. Bring your legs into a double knee fold position. So one at a time, the legs come up. Feet together, knees apart. And let's take the hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers. Bring yourself into a curl up. Reach your arms onto the sides of your legs or the tops of your knees. Stay there. Stretch your right leg forward. Pull the left one towards you. Send the left leg forward. Pull the right one towards you. Breathe in for one. Breathe out for one. In for one. Out for one. The legs could go higher if you want. That'll be easier for the lower backs. The lower the legs, the more challenging for the abdominals. Keep curling up, keep looking down to your tummy. Last one to each leg. And then give your knees a hug to the chest, rest your head, rock yourself back and forward on the spine if you want to. And then one at a time, feet back into the mat. And we're going to finish there. We'll come onto our backs again in a moment. I'm just going to finish this particular part, part 1. and we'll carry on the other side. Well done. You can hear how breathless I am. Hopefully that's just the talking and moving. Hopefully you've got still a bit of breath in you. Really good work. I look forward to seeing you on the other side for part 2. Well done for now.